Welcome back. Let's continue to bring you news as there has been suspicions over the years that police in the Western Cape are colluding with gangs for leaking information, plotting murders and running smear campaigns. A Western Cape High Court judgment by Judge Daniel Thulare revealed that evidence in an organised crime case linked to the mobsters suggests that 28 gangs had captured low-ranking South African police service officers as well as police bosses. For more on this, we're joined by Winde, the Western Cape Premier. Very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. This is toxic corruption at its highest level. I mean, the extract from the judgment by Judge Daniel Thulare sums up the long-standing suspicions and the many question marks that have lingered in many communities in the Western Cape for years on end. I mean, these are shocking revelations.
Correct. And I mean, as you say, people say it all the time. You'll be out in a community engaging with citizens and they will point out the corner where the gangsters deal their drugs. They will give you names, and then they will make the accusation that these individuals are protected by the police. And you hear it all the time, but there's never really any tangible evidence to say this is what it is. I say never any tangible evidence. I think one real incident was obviously the assassination of Charles Kinnear, which then again is rumored to be connected through this network of linkages between gangsters and police. And that investigation is still ongoing. But as you said, this court case judgment comes out. You read that paragraph 70, which says that the police are not only linked through at junior levels, but right up, and it says at the top table where the provincial police commissioner sits, where they say in that judgment that the 28th gang has a seat at the table. They talk about the anti-gang unit. They talk about crime intelligence and plans to deal with safety and protecting our citizens. So when you read that, I mean, you really just take all of these rumors and you just line it straight in. So that's why immediately, this was not this last Thursday, the Thursday before, the Wednesday I became aware of it. The Thursday I asked our provincial ombudsman to please go through the case, have a look at any other detail that they can have. I've given him 14 days, so it means this coming week on Thursday, I expect a report from him. And then that report will give me, the ability to make up my mind, raise it through our cabinet, decide what to do. Is it a commission of inquiry? Is it a further engagement through the president's office? What do we do? Because we cannot have the crime levels we have the increased, extortion, murders, kidnapping, shootings, gangs, drugs, and those levels pushing on us all the time. Our community is really, really suffering. And then these are the kind of allegations that are made. What is happening in the management of the police here in the Western Cape, but what about in the rest of the country? And these are really very, very concerning to me. And, of course, just imagine those families who are all dealing with lost loved ones, who deal with children who are captured by the gangs and the drugs. I mean, this is just unacceptable, and we have to deal with it. You cannot have a police force with these kind of judgments coming out of a court case.
Absolutely. And with the SAPS in crisis, you make mention of Charles Kinnear. We know that his widow, Nicolette Kinnear, has spoken about how nobody is safe. And also still really reeling, not just from the loss of husband and father of her children, but also staring down a system that has failed the family and her late husband, really speaking to the major concerns around the internal workings of the SAPS. What suggestions does the evidence contained in the judgment make, especially around the extent of involvement, not only within the different rankings of officers in the SAPS, but the influence on public prosecutors who guide the investigation of organized crime and institute the criminal proceedings against its own members?
Okay, so obviously, and that's what I've asked the ombudsman to investigate. But in the judgment, it talks about SAPS. It doesn't necessarily talk about our criminal justice system. But there you raise a question, which also is something that people wonder about, because we see very few convictions. We see the establishment of an anti-gang unit, a big announcement in 2018, beginning of 2019, that now we're really going to tackle the gangs. That unit has never been properly resourced and has never been enabled to really go out. And where are the high flyers? They should all be behind bars, and we should see a reduction in gangsterism, the shootings and the crime that goes with it. But instead, we are not seeing those kind of reductions here or across South Africa. And, it raises many, many questions. Is how serious are we? Are we using right technologies and mechanisms to deal with this? We need to see the opposite happening. So therefore, I think citizens are justified in, asking these questions. When you hear these rumors, it doesn't sound like they're rumors when you read a court judgment like that. Here are specifics and actually naming gang, a specific gang. And so that's why we really need a proper investigation. I'll see on Thursday what our, initial investigation from the Ombudsman says. But I have a feeling that we actually have to put a really serious, and as I said, is this a judicial inquiry? Is this where we really ask people to come forward with evidence? We need to drill down. We need to start finding out, cleaning out this rot, and we need to make sure that our police are trusted, because it's a key component. You speak about the criminal justice system, the policing, making sure we're dealing with crime in a systematic way, using technologies today that didn't exist years ago. Where are those technologies being used to put these criminals behind bars, to make sure we're building a safer society? That's what we need to do. And that's why, again, I reiterate my call to say I think we need to rethink the whole system in South Africa. I believe that we should be devolving policing powers to regions, provinces, where specific powers are needed to deal with specific crimes. Criminal activity, say, in the Western Cape is different to KZN and different to the Free State, or Gauteng. So we need to have different management systems in place. And I believe that that's how we should be tackling crime, bringing in innovation, learning from other parts of the world where they've managed to bring gangsterism and this type of crime under control. We need to be doing that. And at the moment, it seems like we're going in the opposite direction.
Yeah. Very well. Thank you so much for weighing in on this discussion. We're going to have to leave it there for now. Western Cape Premier Alan Winde there, speaking to the suspicions of the communities in the Western Cape and the collusion of gangs for leaking information, plotting murders with police. So we will be keeping a close eye on that outcome, with the deadline being put out there by Premier Alan Winde.